Hey y'all, Coach in the Fight here. In today's video, we're talking about y'all. We're talking about you. Yep. About to hurt somebody's feelings again. Y'all need to hear about yourself. Particularly how when you say you gonna call, you gotta call. You tell me you gonna call, and I'm talking in general. Everything is a parable. They go for whatever. They go for whatever. You guys gotta pull your own weight at least. I can understand if you don't necessarily want to help me. That's your business. That's between you and the Lord. But come on, now you gonna slow me down? Oh, you gonna slow me down? Come on, think about that. It's one thing if you don't want to actually help me in this fight. But you actually gonna slow me down like a boat anchor? Or a weight, a drag? You gonna be a drag on the system? Come on now. That's what happens when let me tell you what the problem is. See, first of all, y'all think y'all more important than me. Right? How do I know that? I know you think you're more important than me because you expect me to conform to you. Each and every one of you expect me to mold my life, my existence, and everything I'm doing around you and what you going on. Like for instance, if you don't got time to watch this video, you would actually prefer that I do it at another time. Or you won't hear the message at all. As an example. We got a couple people in the comment section. We got Miss Dimples says, Shalom. Shalom, Miss Dimples. Peace and safety into your home. Appreciate you stopping by. Sharing that early in the show. Don't wait till, things get off track before you come in and wish your good thoughts. Appreciate that. We appreciate you guys that actually are in this fight. And some of y'all are doing what you're supposed to be doing. And you ain't who I'm talking to. But you know what? You're the minority. There's 22,000 of y'all, 20,000 of y'all, 20,000 of us. I watch the channel too. There's 20,000 of us. But you got three types. The types that's helping, the types that's not in the middle. The types that's in the middle and the types that's not helping. The thing about it, the type that's in the middle, which is the majority of the people, and the type that's not helping are actually the same people. They're the same people. The ones that's not helping and the ones that are neutral. The ones that are unhelping. Because they're like boat anchors. They are a drag on the system. Neutral people are a drag on the system. You gotta pull them along because they're neutral. They like the boat itself. It's gotta be pulled. If you don't, it'll sit there and float. And guess where it's gonna float if you don't pull it? To bad. It's gonna pull to destruction. The second law of thermodynamics is pretty much going to hell. Hallelujah. We got Laura Cheney, says Shalom. Hey y'all, how y'all doing? Long time no hear from, huh? What y'all think I've been doing? Y'all put down in the comment section what you think I've been doing and try to make it funny. Try to make it laughable. I don't care if you insult me or hurt my feelings. If you do, it's gonna be wrong anyway. What you think I've been doing? The reason why you ain't heard from me in such a long time. Take a guess. And if you say, I actually tell you. If you guess and it's opposite, I'll tell you the truth. What's been going on? Shalom. Hey, and now under this new writing system, we're gonna have to take these vowels out of our words. I know we're learning. I'm a coach in this game like you, and every once in a while I gotta go talk to the upper echelon and get instructions, and then I got to come down and share them and impart the knowledge with you. But yeah, for us to get this language right, we're going to have to stop spelling the his father's language. In other words, we got to take out the grammar out of it all. In other words, you got to start with the vowels. The A. And the way we're going to have to write it is, let me go in here. I could actually type in here. I can type on this, but I can see all your comments, but I can't actually type and give any comments myself. So I comment her. And so I'll go ahead and do it. But anyway, who else we got? We got the last son says Shalom. Coach. Shalom. Last son. Appreciate you guys and all you guys do. In this video, we're talking about when you say you're going to call me. I ain't going to say when you say you're going to call somebody else. What you do to somebody else is cool. That's your business. But for me, it changes the whole script and the game and everything else. You know, you got to change your agenda for the day. Change your schedule. You know, which is already, what's the word? Not tentative. It's already fragile. It's already fragile anyway. The schedule, the agenda for the day is very unlikely that it's actually going to get completed as you know, planned anyway. You know, and then we got to change it. You know, if we want to do the right thing for somebody else. Anyway. Let me go over here and see if I can get to comments. I'm working on a video. Not really. I don't have permission yet to tell y'all what I'm working on, but the silence, you guys supposed to be telling me what y'all think, why y'all think is the reason for the silence. Hopefully you didn't give your comment already, because I'm already about to start spilling the beans. What do you think I've been doing? You got about, as a guess, the reason why you ain't heard me, ain't seen no video, ain't even been in the comment section much. You're like, the reason why you ain't heard me, ain't seen. That's a good mic check. I'm there now, so let me tell you how we're gonna have to write. We're gonna have to write like this. Put your caps on, all caps. For you guys who writing with your hands, or you just don't worry about it. Yeah, well, it's a little bit advanced class. The reason why you have to put your caps on is because when you put the word Shah, you have to spell it like that. That's going to be your Shah. And then if I remember correctly, the word is Shah, La, Wa, Ma, 4 syllables. So is that going to have to look like Shah, La, Wa, Ma? And so that's the way we're going to have to write it, because there's sometimes when there's actually a aleph in or a Allah in the word, like the word Ra, Ya, Wa, Da. Now, that word right there, which looks like Raywith, is actually Ra'ayawatha. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 syllables. Ra'ayawatha. Ra'ayawatha is what we're supposed to have on our chest for heart pain. If you have heart pain at all, you need to take you a big magic marker and write the Hebrew letters for this on your, not on your chest, maybe. It really says, you know. And so I have mine on my clothing and on a thing, on a little domino that I scratched into the letters Ra'asha, Allah, Yada, Wawa, Ta, Wa. Those letters, you have to write them in Hebrew too. Don't write them in English like what you see there. is actually real. What's the word? You don't want to say, anything too bad about the language that we were taught, English, but it's just backwards. I'm gonna just say it's backwards, backwards, upside down. Everything that could be wrong is wrong with that right there. But when we want to actually talk the language over this internet, that's the way we're gonna have to do it. You see the difference, because you have that A in there, which represents Allah, and the thing about it, I could have put it like this: Ra, Ra'ah, Yah. I could have spelled it like that, Rayoth, right? Because the O transliterates to the Wawa in Hebrew. So anytime you see a word with an O in it, you can almost assume that it used to have a Wawa right there. Like rainbow, it probably was a Wawa in there and at the end. If you go back to the Hebrew. But anyway. Yep. Let me see. I see Leia down there. Hey, Leia. But I am getting ahead of myself. She says Shalawama. Now, see, when she do it like that, I can pronounce it correctly. When everybody else do it, I got to say what they say, because I like to read what's actually down there. Like, for instance, Torah Hero says, how you doing? How am I doing? Hey, I still got my nose above the water. I'm swimming. I am actually doing pretty good, actually doing pretty good. Not much fighting, not a whole lot of fighting. But the struggle now is getting the video up and getting them edited and produced is the big issue now. And as far as that concerned, I ain't doing too well. I'm actually giving myself a very poor score on getting the videos produced. That's why I'm asking you guys if any of you guys are interested in editing videos yourself. Let me tell you how it would work. What you would do is you would have the ability to get to the video one way or another. Either you done uploaded it or you have you have editing rights on my channel to get to the video. Either way, what you would do then is go to the YouTube editor. There are better editors, but that one's free. It works well. It's great. So you go into the YouTube editor, which takes you about a day to learn if you have never used it before. Give yourself a little minute to learn it because it ain't real easy. But it's real good. And then once you get it down, you would actually edit out the video. You would actually edit the video, and then you would save it there, and it would show up, on my side that you edited it, and I would actually get the opportunity to see it, and then, publish it, or you can, go ahead and publish it, do a lot of the other publishing stuff. And that way, what would happen if, that way the editing part could be turned over to you guys, and then just the class part. Like you see, that last video was completely unedited at all, as far as no. There was somebody who got their hands in there and did a little bit of editing right there at the beginning. Just chopped off the first part, but as far as the rest of the video, there's zero editing as far as I know. I ain't got no alerts that it's been edited. But anyway, if you're interested in helping out editing videos, let me know. Anyway, we got Miss Dimple says, thank you. You as well. Thank you, Miss Dimples. Thanks all of you guys. But here's an example. We got Rory Prince of the Most High Yah says, Shalawama, coach and family, and inthefight family. Peace, love, and light. Now, see, she did it the other way. Now, look, and I appreciate you, Rory Prince of the Most High Yah. And then if I blow over your comment like I did, who was that out there? Lord Cheney and the last one. If I blow over your guys' comment, don't feel bad. It's that I'm jumping around to protect the innocent. But anyway, appreciate you giving the good sentiments there and sharing the love and the like. And what we do want to point out in there is how she spelled the word shalawama. Now, that's verbally how you say it. Every word in the Hebrew ends in the ah. The ah is the first letter of the alphabet, the alabayata. And it is just the sound. You can imagine caveman sitting there looking at a rock, and then all of a sudden they notice another person, and the first sound that comes out of their mouth is and then they start from there. And so what's funny is that the the what do you call it? The people who are reversing the language said it is silent. It's like the most basic of sounds, and they said it is silent. You know, and you say, well, what happened to the word Abraham if it's silent? But anyway, so every word ends in every syllable ends in and you can prove it by the word Hosanna. They didn't say Hosann, they said Hosanna. They didn't say Ab, they said Abba. And so that's how you know it's supposed to be a at the end of it, like Sha, La, Wa, Ma. And so that's what Roy Prince of the Most High Yah is doing for us, is helping us out. But then the way she's spelling it with her grammar, you have to wonder, well, where are the Allahs at? Are there any Allahs in there? And then one has to start to assume maybe one of those A's that she has in there could possibly be an Allah, you know? And so then you get into, like, you're into the Greek and the Latin, and now even the Roman, and you're looking at these words and you're trying to transliterate them back to Hebrew, and it doesn't work. It's not possible because we've truncated and changed the letters around and all of that, and we can't find the Allahs, we can't find the I's in there and all of that. But anyway, that's why it's important to return to the pure language. But anyway, sorry to pick on anybody. I don't mean to pick on anybody. I'm using everybody as an example, though. Like, who next? Is that everybody? Yeah. All right, cool. Nah, that's everybody. No, man. There's Honey Bunny, I think. Yeah, Honey Bunny says shalom. So, there's 3 stages of you guys helping me. First of all, there's the Hater Nation. And you guys, I want to thank you guys, first of all, the Hater Nation, because y'all help me stay humble. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for y'all, I'd probably be on the moon by now. You know, I'm looking, you know, but thanks for all the people that reminded me of what such a bum I am. And, you know, how, you know, all of that. Anyway, so I appreciate that, because you have been my motivation. Like they say, let your haters be your motivators. Appreciate that. Pat yourself on the back. Then there are you people on the opposite end of the spectrum that are actually pushing this boat. You guys are like, what's that movie, Chris, with The Incredibles, where the little kid had to get on the back of the boat and paddle because he was the fastest? Mm-hmm. And some of you guys are like that, just straight up, just pushing the boat. And I want to thank you guys as well. Y'all down there in the comment section, but I ain't going to identify. You know, I don't do that because I don't want nobody sending no bad messages your way. When I say you in the comment section, somebody already anyway, but they scattered, they shooting BBs scattered, they can't do that. Anyway, you don't want to give them a rifle with a scope. You know, but we appreciate all of you guys, and all of you guys are doing and have done and will do. Anywho. Who else is staying there? Roy Princess Most High Yah says Shabo, like Shabo Orth and Yasha Ra La. See, example, yeah, good example. See, I'm confused. Right, see all them A's in there? And so spell it. Then let's try to spell it the other way. Like take all the vowels out, and how you have that double A there. We're gonna have to see a capital A there, and like Sabaoth. Now that Sabaoth, that one, I ain't no expert on the Sabaoth. Because I guess I spent half my life confusing it with Sabbath, and it ain't nothing like it. They ain't related at all. They ain't the same word. You ain't even talking about the same thing. And it's like, huh? How are they so close? Sabaoth and Sabbath ain't got nothing to do with each other. No, you don't want to have a Sabaoth on the Sabbath. You actually don't. And far as the way I understand it, you don't want them in the same sentence. You don't even want to talk about them in the same sentence. Not really, because one is war and one is peace. But anyway, I might be confused. If we went ahead and spelt it right, or got it right, however you, what's the opposite of spelling? If we went ahead and wrote it right, um, I might be able to tell. So we wait on Royal Princess of the Most High Yah to respond. If she will, I'm gonna have to help her out myself. We're going to the next comment. Got Marilyn Diaz says, Shalom. She also gives some praying hands and a couple of hearts, one blue and one white. Leah gave a purple heart and a crown. These emojis, we can break them down if you want to. I ain't no expert on emojis, but I know what crowns mean. They say we're supposed to tell our testimony. My walk started with a crown. You know, it started with a crown when a preacher guy gave us all crowns there at the church and said that if anybody or when anybody asked you about the crown, that we were to tell them about the Messiah. And me, like a obedient little soldier, did exactly that. And so that's where it started for me with a crown. Because he explained to us that we're supposed to get crowns for this work. And I was like, I want my crown. So, yep. Y'all know what praying hands is. But the blue and the white. The blue is a symbol of Michael, the archangel. And then you have the white symbol of purity. Anyway, we're at Royal Princess of the Most High Yah has come back and says, first she says, Yah Sha Rala, Israel. And then she says, Sa Ba Wa Ta. And I don't believe none of that right. Royal Princess of the Most High, we about to have a whole class in Hebrew right here because your ASH, when you say the word Shah, and please try again for everybody's sake. When you say this word Shah, when you write the letter Shah, you have to put a capital S and a lowercase h. That's why you have to use all caps. It's because when you write the letter Shah, it has to have a lowercase h. Tha has to have a lowercase h. Cha has to have a lowercase h, and so forth. If not, you're going to get confused with the ha. Let me tell you what you actually wrote. This is what you wrote. You said, and it's going to sound kind of funny, but anyway, you said, Ya Sa Ha Ra La hyphen Israel. Sa Ba Wa Ta. Okay. Now then she came back and then she said, in the next one she said, nah, I see she said, okay, thanks, like she quit. Don't quit yet. But she came back and she said, Sa Ba Wa Ta Ha. Sabawadaha. Sabawadaha. Now what is Sabawadaha? Sabawadaha. And so by changing these letters and doing this is what they've done. They've got her spelling words, and she's trying her best. Don't mess with her. Y'all pray for her because she's doing us all a favor here. But notice what we're doing, and so what she has to write. I don't know what I can't. Like I said, I ain't no expert on the word Shabaoth. And I don't know, I barely know what it means. Much less how to write it. I can look it up. But anyway, we'll come back. She says, okay, thanks. Oh, yeah, come on, stay with us. And then we have Marilyn Diaz says, Zeet, obedience. Yes, Zeet is obedience. Yeah. If you ain't got your Zeet on, you ain't Israel. And you probably ain't obedient because none of us are experts in the law. And that's what he gives us as a helper to help remind us of those areas when we fall short or don't remember. We have the Zeet or fringes. Either one, as long as it have the blue on it. That's what we was talking about earlier, the colors. And the color blue represents Michael. So the Tzitzit has a ribbon of blue around it so that when you look down at it, you are reminded of what the covenant says. And that's a blessing. That's a gift from our Father for us because, like we said, we're not an expert in the covenant. And we will forget stuff or we will make mistakes. And so we can all look down at our Tzitzits or our friends or the blue in it. It's the blue. That's why the police have blue lights. It's the blue that actually brings us back to obedience in the Tzitzit. So let's not forget that. Else, you can be over there on Amazon buying Tzitzits that don't have blue in it at all. I call them gypsy Tzitzits because it just looks like Tzitzits, but or tzits, tzits. I'm gonna show you look up the word. Somebody spell it correctly so I can actually pronounce it correctly. How did they spell it? Where did it go? Oh, they said zit. Y'all gonna have to help me with these words or I'm gonna have to look them up. Anyway, she came back and said sa ba wata. Now, is it Shabawata or Sabawata? Now, if it's Sabawata, we can work that out. Now, the way I'm learning, and I'm very new at this, y'all. I'm like a jailhouse Hebrew teacher. And so, the way we start, and I'm gonna have to get these guys. Don't worry about the hammering. Y'all gonna hear hammering in my video that I put out today. I already know it anyway. You start with the O right there or the Wawa right there, and then you start the connecting. So it's the Wawa, which is the connecting, and what is it connected to? It's connected to the covenant you see at the end. That's the Tha. So we have Watha. Watha is a connection to the covenant. Anytime you see a word that ends in Watha, it's a connection to the covenant. Okay, so what's connected into the covenant? There is the Ba, as in the house. So this is the house that's connected to the covenant. Now I'm questioning that sa at the end. Like I said, I'm not an expert on this word, but if it's a sa at the beginning of this, that's indicating support and sustenance. That's now support. And so if that's it, then it's saying support of the house in connection to the covenant. And so that's the sa by oath, supporting the house, connecting to the covenant. And yeah, I can see how you can get something, related to war out of that. But it also, if she's spelling it incorrectly and saying sa instead of sha, then the sha will indicate crushing or destruction in some manner with the symbol of a tooth instead of the symbol of a support or a support. And so that would mean that you have the house connected to the covenant, but the house is connected to the covenant is more connected through destruction or crushing, which absolutely sounds like war because we're going to crush your house connecting it to the covenant. Yeah, that's the pole shift. That's the global earthquake. That's the whole Gizmo. That's Shabdiah, who, God of war or respect. And that's what the video we got coming out today will include. It's not on that directly, but it will be talking about the year 2029 and 2030. But anyway, appreciate it. The next one looks right to me. She says, Yasha Ra'ala. Yasha Ra'ala. Now, look how I just learned something right there because I don't use that word a lot. And I'm not an expert on what it's supposed to mean. I can almost think, it means Israel. Yeah, it does. But only because I'm seeing the words. I may be seeing that Allah upside down with his horns in the ground. But that's where we started back in grammar school. And, so we have to work from there. But now that you see that she spelled it correctly, we can actually see it in there. And you can actually see what Israel means. Yashara'ala. So that's the hand or the arm, which is assistance. Shah, that's the tooth. So the assistance, and I'm having to start at the beginning because, or the end. I have to start it that way, the beginning, because there is no Y in there. But technically, if I understand the language correctly, based on what we learned in the Testament of Solomon, we're supposed to start from the back. So let's start over and start from the end of the word, since we don't have a Y in there. At the end, we have La, which is a lesson. That La is a lesson. And so what is the lesson? It's a Allah. It's a Allah. So it's a lesson in our Father. Right? And so then, okay, what's the lesson in our Father? A Shah. Shah Ra Allah. Okay, so it's a destruction or a crushing lesson in our Father. Oh my goodness. Well, what is this all about? Yah, which is the hand. So we're getting assistance. Oh, okay. Yasha Ra Allah. See, now if he just said Ha Ra Sha or something, if he did put another letter out there like a Ha, that means somebody else is going to help us with this thing. Like another human is going to come up and help us with this thing. If he did put a Mim out in front, that would imply that a wife or a mama or some woman figure or even the feminine aspects of the church is going to come and save us. Like pagan holidays is going to come and save us through all of these things. If he had to put a Ra at the beginning of it, it would assume that the man of the house is the one that's going to have to help and pull the family through this destruction and this lesson that's going on. And see, you can keep going through the alphabet. Is it a Cha? No. What it is, he said, is a Yah. The Yah is him, because that's why it's the first letter of the Tetragrammaton, because it's the hand that's assisting him and making the connection to him. But anyway, we got 7 people looking and 8 people liking. That's over 100%, so we loving. But anyway, let's keep moving. We got Marilyn Diaz says true. Appreciate it. And because now that we start to spell the letters, we can see the letters that's in there. Now, again, you have to turn them upside down and reverse them. But you can see. I think we got another example down there. We'll get to it. In the meantime, we got the last son says, how would... I'm going to say it funny the first time. How does Raja Kodesh, or would it be spelled differently? Yeah, Raja Kodesh. Because what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to spell each Hebrew letter with a capital letter. The letter Wawa is going to have to be a W. You can use an O. You can use an O in English. But you have to understand, you're getting into that's the most complicated. Well, that's the U. If you could use a U, you could use an O, and you could use a W to represent the Wawa. Okay. Now I think that's okay. I would actually like to only see. I can't. Well, anyway, it ain't up to me. Now, the Allah is always going to have to be the capital A. And and then you have the Ayana, which is going to have to be the capital I. Ayana, I. It's really the same thing. I is talking about an eye. That's why words like insight and invisible have something to do with our eye. Whether it's a 5th dimensional eye or a 3rd dimensional eye, anytime you see the eye, yeah, that's what they're talking about. Boom, 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 boom. And so that's why we're going to have to write in capital letters just so those letters can come out. So when there's an I in there, we can pronounce it, properly instead of skipping over it like it was just a vowel. And that's how we're going to do it. Okay. So, see, the problem is that I don't know how to spell that. Now, Royal Princess of the Yup Most High Yah, she came down and, now do she have enough syllables? We doing Hebrew right now because what she said is spelled is Ruwacha, Hokadasha. Ruwacha, Hokwadasha. Hokwa, not Hoka, Hokwa. Hokwadasha. And see, I'm learning too. And see how we're going to, this is why it's important. That's why this has to be a part of the language. See how now we can learn what we're saying. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. You learn what you're saying, and you learning what you're saying, and you learning what you're saying. Second dimensionally, because you're looking at it. Third dimensionally, because you're understanding it. And fifth dimensionally, because you're getting it. It's actually imprinting on your eyeballs. The only problem is you're getting the opposite. And those actually opposite letters mean something. You know, that those figures, those pictographs, they hurting us. But anyway, can't say we want to go to the paleo either. The paleo is worse in some cases. In some ways it's better, but it ain't worth learning paleo. You know, all the thing paleo does for us is prove and help us to understand what the original pictographs. But it's a corruption too. It's the first corruption is paleo. So ain't no need in us putting those backwards letters up there either. So it is what it is. We got what we got. We got English or whatever language you got. You can do this in the language that you have. You just have to map your language, and I can help you with it. I'll help you with it. You can have, and it's good time for 9 o'clock prayer. Let's take a moment for the 9 o'clock prayer. Let me go out here and tell these guys. I just looked at the clock and saw 9 o'clock. All right, it's a good time for the 9 o'clock prayer. Where they at? Not the windows, but the boys, because it's now time for 9 o'clock prayer. The boys. And young men. We can holler at them and tell them that it's 9 o'clock. Just a reminder. I'm happy to look at the clock. Thanks, sir. All right, then. Are we back? I think we're back. All right, now what is it? Ruwacha. Now, thank you for that, because I've been struggling with that one. Ruwacha. There's actually a saying, the first words to be spoken in the Testament of Solomon is what is it? Mayakala asar ruwacha. Mayakala asar ruwacha. And then, but of course, that word has been yiddified, and so you start to, wonder how does it end? Is it ruaches and all of that? And so, because they put an X at the end, which makes it sound like it's like ruaches, but when you actually see it there, that X a lot of times transliterates to the cha. You really, which is just a pictographical thing that the cha transliterates to the X, but it's a problem because in English X has a sound. It sounds like X, and the thing about X is it has that s at the end, when the cha does not have a s at the end, and so they got us thinking that it's ruaches when it's actually ruacha. Okay, they got us speaking Yiddish instead of Yahuaditha. Anyway. Then there's the other part. he said, or she says, I look close. See, making sure that's a Q, them O's. They go your writing exam anyway. Ha, quada, sha. So you got ha. That's the breath. But it's not so. It doesn't mean breath. It's the sound breath. So when you say ish, you're talking about a man, or isha, you're talking about a man, and you say ishaha, you're talking about a woman. That ha, that breath at the end is significant, and all it is giving that ha sound. And so when you say it, you can't say Messiah. You're truncating the word, and you're speaking Yiddish, and you're actually moving or leaving out the breath. You're leaving him out, the essence, basically, of him, when you don't say Messiah. Anyway, so you see what how the spelling is going to be important when we can actually see what we're saying. Eventually, we're going to be making up words because we're going to understand how the language transliterates. And so then we're going to understand that Q, whenever somebody writes a capital Q, especially when it ain't got a U after it, we're going to realize what language they're speaking. They're speaking Yahweh Dita with the Hebrew OS1 code. We'll all understand. It's not going to take long to return to the pure language. And so you have him connected, or not connected, but it's right beside the holiness. But let's start at the end. Like we said before. So you have Shah, which is crushing, destruction, a tooth, not teeth, but a tooth. Like something's about to be crushed, like a molar. They say in the shape of a molar. Then you have Da, which is door. That one's indicating a way, like a transition point, like going from one side to the other. So you're going to the destruction, or something is going to the destruction. What's going to the destruction? Qua, holiness. Holiness ain't necessarily going to the destruction. The qua is always getting us to the holiness. That's why it comes right around the Ra and the Tha and all of them letters at the end of the alphabet. It's holiness. So it's not necessarily the qua, but it's ha qua. So it's him, his holiness, transitioning to destruction. So you have Ru, Awa. Wait, somebody add some letters? Man. All right. All right, they look like they added some letters down at the bottom. She says she's still learning. I appreciate it. She says she's still learning. Anyway, we're going to get back to it because I see she added some letters, and we learning. We still learning. Anyway, we're going to let Kim Heyman represent. She said, hey. Hey, Kim. How y'all doing? Y'all let us know where you're at. What time it is, where you're at. You ain't gotta give us you ain't gotta tell us your address or nothing. You can let us know what continent, what region, what area. Represent your school if you want to. We ain't doing that. You ready to make one of the most important videos of all time, but we ain't doing nothing otherwise but chit chatting. Yeah, that video. Can I tell them about that video? I'm frank, all that. Being a little bit hard hit because the answer's already. Nope. It needs to be a surprise because it needs to be perfect. But anyway, we're talking about Hebrew now. What is she's royal princess of the Most High Yah adds an Allah in there. She says Ra'awacha. Ra'awacha? Ra'awacha? Is that right, y'all? Help us out, man. Now, what that does, Ra'awacha, of course, you still have the Y in there, so you have the connection to the Cha. That's separation. So you have separation at the end, a fence at the end. Something that was in is about to be out, or something that was out is about to be in, but it's about to stay there. It ain't like it's going to be a door, a cha. The difference between a door and a cha is, the cha stays shut. You don't get to cross back over. The door, you get to go back and forth. The fence, you don't. You're either on one side or you're on the other. That's why you have China Wakaha. Either you in or you out. Ain't no dancing about. So you have the connection between the Allah. So you have our father Abba connected to a fence. Our father Abba connected to a fence. Okay? And then, so with that right there, our father Abba connected to a fence. Now you're starting to question, which side of this thing are we going to be on? Because, the Allah, the Allah is divine. It's not necessarily, I don't want to speak too much, but it could go both ways, if you know what I mean. It's more divine than anything. There's no such thing as evil and good spirits. All the spirits are the same. You have feminine and you have feminine, masculine aspects of everything, and but anyway, ... So then you have the head. So now it all makes sense, because you have the head connected to or beside the father. So you have the father and the head. So you have the higher order of things connected to the fence. So this is basically saying, get your house in order. And it don't mention house, because it's not necessarily a house. It's basically everything. It's beyond the house. The house is not mentioned here because it's beyond your house. But y'all help me out down there. Then we have Ha-ma-sha-ya-cha. Ha-ma-sha-ya-cha. Okay? So Ha, that's him at the beginning. That elevates this word. If you had Masha-ya-cha, you could be talking about any messenger, any angel, but you're going to say Ha, Masha-ya-cha. And so that's letting us know that you're talking about the Messiah, the Messiah. And that's why in Yiddish or English or in spelling, they try to say that the word Ha means the. Because you see how I did that real quick? We went from the Messiah himself to the Messiah. And so now Ha means the. And so anywhere we want to Ha, no, we got to return to the pure language and recognize what's really going on. It don't mean the, it means spirit, breath, him. It's putting identification on it. You ain't just talking about any old spirit, any old messenger. It could have been a Ra, Mashayacha, which would have been implying, a human or something like that. What the Yiddish is doing and changing these words, they're actually really changing the meaning of the word, especially when you go from a Ha to a Cha. You go from him to a fence, or from a fence to a him, And when it comes to China Wakaha, you're going from separation, where you're by yourself getting the light, to a Ha, which is basically another preaching thing, where you're going to have a person standing over you telling you about something. But anyway. The Ma Shaya Cha. So we don't have a Wa, so we start at the end. We have the fence, Ya, and the hand. So we get an assistance with the fence. Crushing, so it's crushing assistance with the fence. This sounds like the pole shift to me. Yep, there it is. Chaos. That's what the Messiah's purpose is to come and help us through the pole shift. And so that's why you see that in his name, Ma, which is chaos. Sha, chaos and destruction. And I'm going backwards. Ya, but he's giving us assistance with this. Cha, separation, talking about the chosen few and how those under and following him is going to be separated and actually survive, while the rest of them, yada yada, blah blah, dot. Anyway, thank you for this teaching. Yeah, it's about time to wrap it up, ain't it, Miss Diaz? Yep. You're welcome, though. Honey Bunny says, Houston, Texas, 9 a.m. You say a prayer for us out there? 9 a.m. Your prayer time. Connect. And that thing 3 times a day, guys. I don't do it all of the time. I wish I did. What it's going to take is having an alarm set. And I do have an alarm set, but the problem is I have too many alarm sets and all kinds of dinglings and danglings going on. And so it doesn't stand out. I can't get it yet to where it screams at me and says, hey, Goofy, it's time to pray. But I ain't got that far yet. But that's what I think I'm going to need is something like that. If y'all want to call me on the phone, I don't know. Maybe we can work something out. And yeah, anybody can set an alarm. But the problem is that the actual time changes, and it's dependent on your area, you know. And so each day is a little bit different in a few minutes and all of that. Anyway, working on it. Thank you. Marilyn Diaz says she's in Connecticut. Hey, Connecticut. Tell everybody in Connecticut I say hi. We got Royal Princess of the Most High. Yeah, says ha-ah. Yeah, it made me say it right. Ha-ah. Mashayacha. Ha-ah. Mashayacha. Really? Ha-ah. Mashayacha. Oh, whoa. I didn't say it right. I better look at it again. I gotta look at the English. Let me say it. Ha-ah. Mashayacha. Ha-ah. Mashayacha. If that's it, you gotta make it into a mnemonic. Ha-ah. Maya. Okay, I'm gonna stop because I'm messing it up. What is it? What is the meaning of it? It's him, God, water, tooth, hook, fence. Those are what the symbols is. A man with his hands raised up. So you have a man, a bull, water, a tooth, a hook, and a fence. Write that down and figure out what it means. Marilyn Diaz says, get your house in order. Yeah, like I said, it's more than a house now. Which one is get your house in order? Oh, the word earth is get your house in order. The word earth is actually a biblical word. Aratha. In biblical, the word earth is aratha. Now, you could do a whole lesson in Yiddish and truncating words and slang and all of that by practicing with a word like that. Ra, tha. 3 syllables. Actually, and we spell it E-A-R-T-H. And call it earth, but it's aratha. And so what is that? That's the head. That's our father. Yeah, you got the head in the middle. And somehow we got to get these part right. You got the head in the middle. No, we've been started at the end. So the thigh, you have the covenant. And then you have the head, which is man. And then above that, you have the Father in heaven, which is God. So God, man, covenant. That's the earth. That's what the earth is about. And so when you think about that for half a second, this is our Father Abba putting the Ra'asha or putting man in general into the covenant. This is a training ground for us to learn how the covenant, but we're learning it through the Ra, not the Ma or the Ha. Like a Ha would imply that somebody else is going to be to come in and teach us. The Ma would imply that the mama is going to come in and teach us. But no, you got a Ra, which is saying that the head of the household, the man, is going to have to come in and teach us. And for scriptural basis, we have to reference the shepherd of Hermas, which says that. We can talk about that down in the comment section if y'all want to, but somebody already gave us a hint to mash the gas. Marilyn Diaz is in Georgia. We're going to have to come see y'all as soon as I get me a car. I'm going to come see y'all. I don't know what kind of car I want to get. I really want to get me a old school car with points and all of that. No computer. What I say is I want the car to have the most sophisticated part in the car. I want it to straight up when I get it. Well, not when I get it. Somebody can fix it up if they want to.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Well, then go to sleep. Anyway, maybe nobody can help me with it. I see one. But the car is either it's gonna be like what I used to drive. Before I stepped out on this walk, I was driving a BMW 335i and a Porsche 944. Of course, I could have had the 911 if I'd have had it. if somebody had sold me one cheap, but I had to go with the poor man's 944. It was good enough for me. But I had to have that 325i. Now that's the opposite end of the extreme. I could go that route, but I think I want to go with the old school route, where the most sophisticated component in the car is literally the cassette deck or the 8-track. It's the only computer in the whole joint is the 8-track. An apocalypse ready car. That's what I'm thinking. Or a truck, an apocalypse ready truck with point system in it, and or maybe diesel, maybe old school diesel, maybe prefer the old school diesel. But anyway, and then I'm gonna have to come out there and see y'all. Not see what y'all doing, but meet y'all. I ain't getting y'all business and all that. Anyway, let's go on. We got stuff to do. Melon Diaz says, ancient Egypt, the god Sahawu represents air, breath of life. Okay. I can see that Ha in there. I don't know about nothing like that Egyptian gods or anything, but anyway. Marilyn Diaz says, the best cars to have. Yeah, guys, and you should consider that. I ain't telling you what to do, but the thing about diesel is you can literally run it off of the cooking oil. You can run it off of pig fat. You can grow pigs and turn pigs into fuel for your car and drive around on pig fat, literally, or peanuts. You can grow peanuts and then drive around on peanuts. Anything like that. It's I ain't gonna say it's easy. It's possible. With gasoline, you would have to use something like wood gas, and it's way more complicated to use gasoline engines than it is the things. And then as far as the EMP, that's a real deal. As much as I've read the scripture, I can't disqualify that we're actually going to get hit with an EMP, a nuclear explosion overhead that will knock our lights out, disable the power here in the United States, where all of a sudden we don't have access to freezers, computers, and all of that stuff will fry, and most of the cars, especially the modern cars, that BMW 335i will burn. It's gonna sit right there, and every computer in it's gonna catch on fire, and the whole car is gonna burn up. Whereas an old school car, you really only have to worry about the battery. If it's sitting there with the battery disconnected, you probably only thing gonna burn up is that 8-track cassette player. Everything else is just gonna be just fine. I mean, you may have a wire or two, but we'll be able to get them things running. It'll really be like the movies where everybody else's car is gonna be down, and the man riding around in the old timey, what do they call them? I can't remember what they called it, but the real old cars is gonna be the only ones on the road. So, anyway, Psalms 34:5. God will give you the desire of your heart. No, I ain't wishing for it. If I was wishing for it, I'd have it. I'd be trying not to. I think about it, I gotta ride past one of them every time I go to Walmart. There's an El Camino. There's a what is that? My mom used to have one of them cars. Camaro. There's like a 70s model Camaro sitting out there. Like the one my mama used to have with the standard, not the standard, but the automatic transmission. I hated that car. Anyway. Only because I ain't gonna say I hated the car. I didn't. I shouldn't have said that at all. What it was there was two cars involved. She had the one with the automatic transmission, while the other one that I got to drive just as much or maybe even more had a 5-speed transmission. And whereas I said one I did, the other one I would have said the opposite. But anyway, I didn't love or hate either one of them. They was just cars, just preferably. And so anyway, gotta have that 5-speed in it. But no, I ain't desiring it. All right, so that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I got all what I wanted to say. The message here, the message in this video is do what you say you're gonna do, guys. Some of y'all owe me a phone call, and I'm literally waiting on a phone call. And I'm like, do I stop what I'm doing and call you, and all of that? Got to worry about your schedule and all of that, and all that. I can, I will. But right, imagine us out there on the water, and we're trying to get to the shore. Like we said, you got some people out there who's doing a lot of kicking. They pushing the boat. I may be up here trying to view, where we supposed to be going, but I ain't driving the boat. Some of y'all driving the boat and all of that. Well, imagine the ones that sitting there with their feet in the water, just dragging along, holding down the process or whatever. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for what you are doing. But like I tell you guys, I am a coach in this thing. I'm not a preacher. I'm a coach in this thing, which means, gotta have locker room talks every once in a while. But anyway, appreciate you guys stopping by. Hope you got something out of the video. If you did, hit the like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike button. But leave a comment either way. And I appreciate you guys as well. Shalom. Praise our Father in heaven. Hallelujah.